Hey, everybody, this is Andy Rosenberg from the law offices of Andrew Rosenberg, PA. And I have a good friend of mine, Adam Rossen, who is my criminal defense and just criminal and ticket man that I send everything to. And I wanted to talk to him in this wonderful pandemic that we're going through about what's going on the criminal side. So, Adam, welcome. And I'd like to have you introduce yourself and give a background about your firm and about you and your newborn child, etc.
Hey, Andy. Yeah, great to see you again. Great to talk to you, as always. So a little bit about me. I own the Rossen law firm. We specialize in criminal and DUI defense work. We do first-party property insurance as well, but that's more for hurricane season. We'll talk about criminal and DUI and domestic violence and all the fun stuff, the law and order type stuff. But basically with me, I was a prosecutor at the state attorney's office in Broward for 2 years. And right before the recession in '08, I had a great idea to jump ship and leave. Looking back, you always kind of say, you don't know what you don't know. But as a prosecutor, you don't have clients. You can't, it's not like you leave a big firm with a few, companies that say, all right, well, I'm sticking with you, Adam. You start from scratch. You start with nothing. So we did that in '08.
Perfect timing, Adam.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So, I started March 1st, '08, and I think the economy, was going down, and then the stock market crashed in September. I think I remember being at Rosh Hashanah dinner with my family, maybe a day after the market crashed or 2 days after, and it was just nuts. But you hustle, you survive, and if you think about it, I started my firm in the midst of the last great recession, and we've built it up. We have 2 lawyers, 4 staff. We've been so fortunate to help so many people in South Florida. We really view ourselves as community leaders. We have over 350 5-star reviews, and we really pride ourselves on taking care of people, not just their case. But yeah, we kick butt in the courtroom. Of course, courts are pretty much closed now, so we're a little bored on that front. But we help our clients better themselves, whether it's through mental health, substance abuse, just being, a friend, good, just being somebody who can give them life advice. And I think that's why we have a tremendous amount of the reviews, but also just loyal and happy clients, So that's just a little bit about me and the firm. We've been doing it now for 12 years. And
didn't you just move into a new office?
So we did, yeah. We actually moved 5 feet from Suite 505 to Suite 510. And what I was telling people the last few months is, you never realize how much is involved in moving, even if you're just moving 5 feet. But yeah, we're done with the move. We have this gorgeous new office and all this extra space. But for the last few weeks, we really haven't been in it much. We're still considered essential workers, so we come in a little bit, but we've been mostly working remotely, and we're set up for that. We've always been set up for that with our firm, so it really hasn't been that much of an issue. Just missing a little bit of the office camaraderie, and
So explain to me again. Obviously, we're my office is remote capable, and we're not having any issues. But explain to me how you're set up, and how you can handle things if someone obviously gets a ticket in this time period, or God forbid a DUI or something of that nature.
Right. So, initial client meetings we've done over the phone, we've done through Zoom, FaceTime, whatever people prefer. Personally, I think there's no substitute for meeting face to face in the office, but that's why we have Zoom, and it is what it is. It's our new normal. I've had clients over the years, many clients, who have, we have a saying, come on vacation, don't leave on probation. And, I've been, yeah, right. We have that saying when somebody comes down, they get arrested and they don't hire me till they go back home, or they're stuck in jail and they don't have any friends or family down here. And their family's calling me from Wisconsin or calling me from California, and we get hired on over the phone or over, video call, and we do what we have to do. So for us, it's been that way for quite some time. We're not fully paperless, but we have everything in the cloud. But personally, I've always liked the feel of paper and just being able to handwrite things. So
I understand.
All of our we have our case management software. We use that, we have it, and we really just use our paper files more as a backup. But the funny thing, Andy, is over the last month, we haven't used the paper files. We haven't needed them. We have everything in the cloud anyway. So it's kind of like the training wheels have come off.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, just that last bit, of
tell me,
wanting it.
Tell me, you mentioned earlier, obviously we're going through this pandemic situation. What's going on with the actual courts for you? Are they having court or are they not having court for the criminal side right now? Right.
So all statuses, calendar calls, all of those are really, at least in Broward County, not happening. Statewide jury trials have been canceled through April and May as of now. We have no idea if we'll resume June 1st or if it'll be pushed back as well. But the counties are handling it a little differently. So Palm Beach is having court in person for these statuses. They are allowing you to appear over the phone. For any of those, we've appeared over the phone. It hasn't been an issue. I'm not going to, personally, I think it's a little silly that Palm Beach is still having it in person. I think I just don't think they're being as cautious as they should. Whereas Broward has pretty much said, non-essential things like these statuses, they're being canceled and pushed off. More important things like bond motions, right? Trying to get people out of jail because the virus has hit all of the local jails. The prosecutors and the defense attorneys have really worked together, which is nice. Not on every case, but on a lot of cases. I think we've already reduced the jail populations in all three counties by about 500 or 600 in each county, Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach. And we're really trying to get any modifications or any issues like bond modifications or pretrial release modifications agreed to if we can. And if we can't, we've hopped on a Zoom call. So
and the judges are trying to get these people out as soon as possible with the bonds and everything.
They are. I mean, it depends on a lot of factors, right? It depends on the crime. It depends on the person, the criminal history, whether or not they've had failure to appear, stuff like that. But yeah, for so much of this, right? Does it really matter if somebody's sentenced to a county jail sentence and they're going to get out in September versus if we let them out now in April? Really, does that really matter? So we've worked out, been able to work out a lot of stuff like that, which has been fantastic.
Okay. I got some questions for you.
Sure.
The first one is, I watch the news. Obviously we all are watching the news, and the local news, and it's always about the pandemic, obviously, but there's some things that pop up that have been mentioned, and it's more towards your area of the law. So one of them that I want to mention is, I'm hearing that there's more drinking going on as far as people at home, which leads to, I guess, domestic violence issues. I'm hearing that I've heard stories on the news of spouses trying to do code words and stuff like that to talk to people to try and get help. So what are you hearing and what are you seeing in that respect? Right.
So, look, like anything, especially us lawyers, we're trained to look at the good and the bad. We're trained to make the arguments on both sides. So it's good in the fact that people are not out drinking and driving, right? People are not out committing crimes or making mistakes in public. The police aren't doing as many proactive patrols. But the flip side is that people are bored. People are, getting restless or getting stir crazy. And now you have, people, confined to their homes, right? So domestic cases have increased tremendously. People, are stressed, right? And a lot of the cases that we see, because we are, private defense attorneys, we're not the public defender's office, but most of the domestic violence, I'd say maybe 7 to 8 out of 10 of the ones that we handle are situational, meaning it can be a spouse who gets, a couple who gets into an argument about finances. I represented a Harvard educated doctor who, and it's a female, and she threw a shoe at her husband while they were getting into an argument at the dinner table. he called the police to come and basically be a therapist, come kind of just settle things down. Next thing you know, his wife's getting dragged off to jail. And that's not what he wanted, but he didn't realize that that's what the law is. So we see a lot of those cases. But Andy, on the flip side, you do have other cases that it can be a pressure cooker and things can get violent and dangerous, quickly. So we see it all, especially in a virus, situation like this.
Are you seeing an uptick or a downtick in DUIs right now?
So DUIs have gone way down because there's no proactive patrols right now. The police have pretty much been told, hey, don't go looking for DUIs. If there's a crash, if there's something dangerous, then deal with it and make an arrest, of course. But we're not seeing the police waiting outside Himmershey Street or Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale, or the police just kind of waiting out the local neighborhood bar in Coral Springs, or driving up and down like where you are in University, on University Drive, being proactive. Right. They're pretty much just responding to the crashes, the dangerous, the ultra dangerous stuff, rather than just looking for it. So huge decrease in that. But people are still drinking. They're just drinking at home.
Right. Which leads to that domestic violence, I would assume.
Right. It leads to that. It can lead to some serious mental health and substance abuse issues, down the road. I think there's going to be a huge increase in criminal cases once we get back to being, social and get back to being in public, just because people have all of this, these emotions and this energy, and they don't know what to do with it. So a lot of people tend to be destructive, and it's now just happening more at home.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Obviously you're hearing these stories where, most of America are living paycheck to paycheck. And obviously the government's been slow about getting the unemployment money out the door to people. They're running out of food. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible scenario for a lot of people. And it just breaks my heart to see it. I was wondering, are you seeing any uptick or concerns with crime in that respect? Because people are like becoming desperate to some degree. I know we're trying to keep our social distances and stay at home, but yet, if you don't have any food on the table, a lot of times that might lead to crime.
Right. So I think there's going to be an uptick in identity theft, in fraud, in credit card fraud, and stuff like that. I do. We haven't got any cases on that yet. Those economic crimes usually take a while to develop from the detectives. There's a lot of bank records and a lot of documents that people need to, that the detectives and the officers need to obtain. But I think a few months from now, we're going to be seeing a lot of those cases come through. Absolutely.
What are your biggest, what are you seeing the most right now with this, with the pandemic side? Because listen, all areas of the law are being affected. People don't realize that lawyers were being affected. There's no question about it. I mean, some areas of the law are seeing increases, but the majority of the law are seeing decreases because it's just not as much activity going on. So I'm just curious what you're seeing. What do you normally handle, and then what kind of trends have you seen in the month or so that we've been doing this so far?
Right. So arrests are down across the board. I think the statistics are, they're down between 70 and 90%. On a weekly basis. Again, the police, some police departments have been infected by the virus. It's so easily spreadable that they're just really arresting the most essential people. We are under stay-at-home order. I have heard of officers enforcing the stay-at-home order. I haven't heard too many people being arrested on the stay-at-home order, but they've been getting notice to appear, citations, fines. It is a crime to break quarantine or to break a stay-at-home order. It's a second-degree misdemeanor with a max jail time of up to 60 days in jail.
I didn't realize it was a crime.
Yeah, it's so under the Emergency Powers Act that the governor has, in a state of emergency, to basically break a quarantine. It's the lowest level misdemeanor that we have in Florida, but max punishment, 60 days in jail, 6 months probation, $500 fine. So Now, look, police in their discretion can give people a warning, we would much rather prefer the warnings than even a notice to appear, but giving somebody a criminal citation, a notice to appear, is a lot better than taking them to a jail where they can possibly get sick. I think a lot of this is just police officers using discretion. We have a very serious case going on right now that if the pandemic wasn't going on, my client would have surrendered herself. We would have surrendered her and set everything up probably last week, but I've been able to work with the prosecutor and work with the police officer that, she's not going anywhere. She has me as her lawyer now before she was even arrested. We're going to turn her in, a month, 2 months, 3 months, whenever it's appropriate, whenever things, whenever it's safe for her. And luckily the prosecutors and police have been, especially in this case, been very accommodating.
That leads me to another question. Let's say that I had a pending court case going on with you, criminal situation, or, we had a ticket. I got a car ticket, and I know you handle tickets and stuff of that nature. There's certain deadlines that have to be hit in regards to these things. What's going on with, how are you handling it, and what's going on, I guess, with Broward County in regards to these deadlines?
Well, so the main deadline that usually works in our favor is the speedy trial rule. Long story short, the prosecutors are under the burden or obligation to bring any person accused of a misdemeanor crime to trial within 90 days, a felony trial within 175 days. So one of the very first things that the Florida Supreme Court did was toll or stop the speedy trial rules because of what's going on. We obviously, if we're not having jury trials, then we, it's not a get out of jail free card. But the prosecutors are working from home, so we've been communicating with them. We've been getting discovery, requests. We've been getting our, discovery is the police reports, the video tapes, surveillance video, body camera video. We've been getting all of that. The only thing that really has slowed down in that process are depositions. Personally, I think the officers, the police departments are totally missing the mark on this. They've flat out refused to allow us to take depositions through Zoom or any video conferencing software. About a month ago, the Florida Supreme Court allowed court reporters to be remote notaries for taking depositions, but the police departments have just flat out refused. And if they're not out on the streets being proactive, then why can't, and if I'm working from home, why can't I have an officer, my court reporter, hop on Zoom? I can see him face to face. We can ask him the questions that we need on the case. So at least we're still doing some work to move these cases along, and they're not letting us do that. So that part's been very frustrating for us.
Any idea why? I mean, what's the rationale for that?
Red tape, excuses, Zoom can be hacked. Well, you and I, we're on a private link with the password, we're controlling everything. So, but they hear that Zoom got hacked once or twice with a public link, and they don't want to do it. But yet these same officers are using their personal computers, their personal phones to have Zoom, to have a, Easter dinner over Zoom or Passover dinner over Zoom. So why can't they do it, for the case? It just doesn't really make sense to me, but it's okay. We'll deal with it when things get back to normal. But Andy, more importantly for the clients, we've been communicating with everybody. We've called every single client at least once. We're going to be going through next week and doing another round, just to let people know, what's going on with court, that we're on top of everything, and just stress, look, communication, because my clients are nervous, they're scared, they're worried. And we're handling everything for them. So
I think we're all worried, Adam. It's not just the clients.
Right. Well, they're worried about their court dates too, not just the health and safety, but, can you imagine a client getting a warrant for their arrest for not missing or for missing court and not being there when they thought courts were closed? A simple miscommunication.
Right, and that's scary, and that's my point. That's why I wanted people to know what's going on. Are they, are those things still happening, or you guys are dealing it and handling it, basically?
Right. So yeah, that's why we're on top of everything. Just we always do a good job of communicating with our people, but 10 times more.
You're obviously very proactive, unlike I know a lot of other attorneys that are in the criminal defense side. I assume that they're probably just closing up shop and realize the courts are closed and they're just staying home and doing their thing, and that's that.
So I do think there is a bit of Darwinism in this. Just like in, after '08, there were companies that no longer existed, right? Think about it. Toys R Us is gone. Circuit City's gone, right? We all can think of a bunch. A lot of banks and automakers would have been gone if we didn't bail them out. So
right.
Moving forward, I think it's really important that any business owner has to adapt, has to overcome, has to focus on communicating with their people, their clients, and just changing, right? The one constant that we know in this world is change. Things will always change. We might not always have a global pandemic, but things will change, and we need to adapt and overcome. And there's going to be a lot of lawyers that just put their head in the sand, and when they're done with this, they're not going to have any business. They're going to be, or they might just retire, right? I'm sure you might even know a bunch of people who just say, you know what, forget it, I'm done. I'm just going to retire.
They're done. They're turning their keys in. Right. Well, Adam, let's wrap this up, but I want to leave the last words for you, and I want to know any words of wisdom that you have in the criminal side or in general that you want to give to anyone right now. So, absolutely. Stay safe, right? Stay mentally safe, not just physically safe, but stay mentally safe. I know a lot of therapists. We have a lot that we deal with. We have a lot that we refer to, and they've all switched to telehealth. So they've been adapting. If you are struggling with substance abuse, mental health, and when we talk about mental health, we don't, I'm not talking about some permanent diagnosis. I'm talking about stress, anxiety, depression because of everything that's going on. Reach out. There's a lot of great resources to find therapists. If there's anybody here that's listening to this, call us. You can call. What's your number? So our phone number, the office number is 754-206-6200. It's 754-206-6200. All of our phones, we have a remote phone system. We have an answering service 24/7. So even if it's late at night, all six of us in the firm, we've been, communicating with clients every single day. And I've been making referrals to some of our therapist partners every single day. So just call us, even, I always look at myself as, we're here to help. So as a community leader, call us and we can put you in touch with another lawyer or other professional, whatever our people need, because it's times like this, you hear on the news, Andy, sure, we hear all the bad stuff, but think about all the local heroes that we've now found, the local community leaders, whether it's people donating food, making PPE, making masks, right? Right. There's been a tremendous amount of community coming together. So that's just kind of my final words and advice for this. Of course, if something bad does happen, we always say that we help good people when bad things happen to them. But for anything, you can always call us. We're here to help. Well, listen, I really appreciate you spending the time with me and answering a lot of the questions that I had on the criminal side. And again, if anyone needs any criminal help or you have issues with, home issues, domestic violence, divorces are going up, you need to talk to a therapist, whatever, Adam is your man. He has connections and he can help you wherever possible. Give him a call. Again, Adam, what's that number? It's 754-206-6200. Great. Adam, thank you so much. And I hope you and your family and your newborn child stay safe. Thanks. You as well, Andy. Love talking to you. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.